This is a story of a man named Peter Grill. Peter Grill is a young, accomplished swordsman who is considered the strongest man in the world. However, he has a pure and gentle heart, which many women find irresistible. Before we dive into the story, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this video. Peter Grill is contesting in the Grand Tournament, and he is at the final stage of this tournament. This tournament was to decide who was the strongest man alive. He is taking on a massive bull, and the only thought that runs through his mind is being united with his beloved Louvelia. Peter Grill fights with all his might, but the fight was not long as he stole the victory. But Peter did not know what the future holds for him or the terrors that lay ahead. After winning a grand tournament, Peter is approached by several powerful and beautiful women who all want to bear his children, as they believe his offspring will be incredibly strong. Peter Grill is thrilled and happy about his win, can't wait to meet the Louvelia and celebrate with her. He is then distracted as a girl called Mimi runs up to him and congratulates him on his win. Mimi is also in the same guild with Peter Grill. Mimi is excited as she is the first lady to show up to congratulate Peter. Mimi asks Peter for a favor, and because he is still happy about his win, he told her, "Lay it on me." And Mimi straight up told him, "Give me some of your junk spunk." Peter, terrified and confused about what she said, crashed into a barrel of fruits. "Are you crazy? What are you talking about?" Peter said. "But you see, Mimi is an ogre, and producing a strong offspring is a pretty big deal for ogres." But Peter is like, ogre-based logic isn't gonna fly around here. Peter thought he spoke some sense into her, but she went on telling Peter she wants to ride St. Gorge. Another ogre bursts out of nowhere, and she is Mimi's big sister called Lisa. Peter told her to talk some sense into Mimi, but Lisa also wanted to partake of his championship loins. As the two sisters started closing up on Peter, he faked a distraction and made a run for it. The ogre swears on her pride as an ogre to have Peter Grill. Peter ran as far as he could to the church to take his place at the side of his beloved Louvelia. Louvelia also wants to have a child with Peter, but she does not know the first thing about making babies. She believes that two people who love each other pray to the heavens. The stock carries their child to a cabbage patch. Peter is still intrigued by her pure innocence. Though it has been 2 years since they started dating, the most they've ever done is to hold hands. Weirdo. After getting home, Peter showers and is prepared to rest for the next day, and he is still thinking about his beloved Louvelia. When he opens his sheets, he sees Mimi in a red dress underneath it. Mimi straight up goes on to telling Peter to make a woman out of her. Peter is terrified at the sight of her and kicks her out as soon as possible. As he went to sit at the edge of his bed, Lisa came up to him saying, "They are finally alone." Peter also kicked her out immediately. The two ogres started banging his door. Peter told them to shut up and take a hike. The ruckus was so loud that it woke up the neighbors. His neighbors called him an asshole for kicking out a couple of naked girls. So eventually, he let them in, and he had to get a hold of himself. He was breathing in deeply and trying not to fall into their trap. He told them about his engagement to Lady Louvelia, but they chuckled and told him they are aware of the fact that he is in a relationship, and they know he has never gone beyond the act of holding hands, but they can entertain him in ways she cannot even imagine. At this point, their twins are facing Peter, and he is straight up terrified. Peter's back is against the wall and they are closing up on him again, but this time, he has nowhere to run to. He tried defending himself against them, telling the ogres about the commitment he and Louvelia have and how he cannot betray her trust. He also goes on to say no one can convince him otherwise, but Lisa straight up pulls down her dress, placing his hand on one of her Charlies. Peter is terrified and lost in the feeling as it is new to him. He goes on to squeeze it a little and suddenly he goes into a trance. Lisa went on to blow some air into his ear, triggering every hormone in him. He was trying to think of his beloved, but it was too much for him to handle, and he eventually gave in to it. Peter woke up mad, disgusted, and disappointed at himself for his actions. The ogres slept beside him, smiling calmly after shaking off the sheets. Peter, with tears in his eyes, shouted, "What have I done? How could I be so weak? Why couldn't you keep it in your pants?" Not very long after that, he hears a knock on the door. It seems his beloved Lady Louvelia has come to check up on him after his amazing fight yesterday.